Will three duos continue contesting each other? The top duos almost to the lobby as well. iDrop Paris maintain their spot on the leaderboard. Nebs Kiduo as well. But all you have to do is make it off spawn, and look at that. Once again, triple con. Who's coming out on top, Jacob?
50-50 yet again. Vanyak getting the first one, going against Aqua. He's just trying to bash him off the side. Great idea. Unfortunately, unable to really make it happen. Then he goes against Merstash. Vanyak already fighting every team so far and getting that first knock onto Malabuka. Quickly cleaning that one up for the Siphon. Mats know there's more enemies nearby, and that's going to be Merstash trying to get revenge for his teammate. How long can Vanyak hold on is the question, and that's instantly going to be answered just long enough for Merstash to just go up and over and try to fake him out.
Be careful though. Swizzy, I believe, was close by as well. Does he know that Merstash is still there? Forced to drop down with that ramp. The pressure has been applied. Swizzy has regrouped with Vanyak as well, so it is the 2 versus 1. It looks like they're going to be able to take him out, but Noah and Aqua are still up. The #1 duo of today gets knocked out. Meanwhile, Vanyak and Swizzy are going to be rushing to try and find some heals.
Yeah, the gap between first and everybody else almost all day long, as what I feel like less than 10 points, about 10 points every single game. And now it's yet again 9 points the difference, but there's still 2 teams here. Noah and Aqua didn't really back off. They just went towards that side that's a little bit more elevated, got some loot, and now they're trying to backtrack and steal away the boss before Vanyak and Swizzy can return fully healed.
That's the hope. But it looks like it's going to be kind of a time game here, as it will take a little bit for that engagement to come through, if it even ends up happening. We saw in the last match as well, there was quite a few duos that kind of showed up later around red line that drop in the surrounding area, so that could be a possibility as well. But Swizzy and Vanyak really are not in a great position here.
No, definitely not, especially since they can't really find HP. There's no med kits, there's no bandages anywhere around just yet. So it's really going to come down to this Swizzy using the majority of this Flowberry Fizz to try to get Vanyak as healthy as possible. Because they know a fight is around any one of these corners, because I know that they hear Aqua and Noah right above them. Just got to be careful. You see them just peeking around, checking every corner, trying to hide as much of the audio as possible. And then kind of simultaneously farm up as Swizzy finds a med kit. Blessing in disguise for Vanyak, but he quickly went on over to the cactus. And it does look like this one might end up disengaging between these 2 teams, especially if Noah and Aqua want to continue to maintain their position elevated up so they can continue to get Surge. Yeah,
I don't think a lot's going to go on in the near future there. So let's take a look by Classy Courts. Cade Marine. Then he was talking about it. A bit of Welsh representation from Cade. Hopefully, though, Marine doesn't get a sneaky play here onto his duo partner. As there it is, Cade Marine now forced into the action. Wall replace coming through. No nitro, though, so more of a normal engagement here that we're not so used to in this current meta.
He immediately took damage and not wasting time with the shield fish to try to get that HP and shield back on up. Nice shots, continuing the aggression. You said it yourself, no nitro splash had made this just a little bit more of a regular fight, which is like a blessing in disguise, because we know Cade would have just immediately nitroed into the box. It does look like his opponent has those nitros, but is unable to use them to escape. Just looking at where's Ares at? Because Marine doesn't get the elimination. He must have disengaged somewhere.
Must have. But I'm also trying to look. Let's see what Flixie's been up to, though, alongside Vico. They've been playing in the storm a lot here after getting these initial eliminations. And it looks like this might just be a repeat of their strategy. Get those elims, loot up, play bunker, go from there.
This is a team I kind of have so many high hopes for, especially with how they've been playing throughout the open portion of this FNCS. I want to see them try to get back on track, even though it might be a little hard for them to get first place without back-to-back top finishing games. But I want to see them kind of make at least a dash for the top side of that leaderboard. Kind of show what they got, build that momentum before we go into week 2.
Building momentum is key. But what's even more key is adaptation. And it's what these players have had to do in this season. From having the Nitro Fists to no longer having the Nitro Fists and switching over to the Nitro Splashes. The environmental mobility from the Nitro Portals. The Storm Surge strats from the Cactuses. So much changes, and being able to adapt quicker than your opponents is what can give you that gap, that upper hand on everyone else in the lobby. Take a look at Turtle here and his duo partner in a box fight. They performed very well in the last match. Second place finish. But they're going to need these eliminations if they want to make it there again.
This fight started and it looked like Chex was just trying to break into the box with Nitro, but it might have ran out at the last second. The tables have turned, and they've turned drastically. They have Nitro Splash between Turtle and Cheeps, and they're ready to break into the box. Dashes them on outward, gets the knock along with it, and everything comes crashing down momentarily, and that's going to be a free elimination and a 2v1 if they want to continue on it. But somebody sneaks in. Turtle gets dropped to 43 HP, forced to kind of wander around and reposition himself with Cheeps going down. That's a whole third-party team, Cringe and Voco, that has come in to disrupt this fight and take everything for themselves.
Now the focus is make use of that River of Sticks, get back to zone. They've already claimed these eliminations. They've gotten the loot they wanted to. And now it's rotating right back in. 1 minute, 20 seconds to do so. You know this duo's feeling happy now.
Oof. Good shots right there. Voltiax looked like he was at a tough spot around the side of the mountain. Quickly builds up, elevates himself, creates some separation, which is important, especially with the Nitro Splashes. As Truly finally gets cleaned up, pulls down low by himself, but only for so long before Voltiax returns. But another third party is coming in. They have to be careful, and I think Voltiax might have heard and is quickly trying to build and create himself space to work with.
On Voltiax, got to make something happen here. A lot of materials being used to stay up as the pressure continues. You got to be careful in these fights when there's so many duos around you, not only in the engagement, but also for the potential third or fourth party. It's not even worth it to fully commit a lot of the time, let alone use materials just to stay up here. And you can see the quick decisions that are made from these players. You can see the experience. They've been through this before. They know when to disengage and when to keep on fighting.
Kind of Voltiax there. When that third party crashed down, Voltiax was the one creating separation and making it look dangerous, but Vico crashes through all those builds and brings everybody down to his lair, knowing that the only real defense is to change the elevations, and they're quickly answering that plan. Another Nitro Splash being popped. Flixie taking a few seconds here. Get that Cola and get his shields back on up. There's still a bunker there towards the outside that they could fight for, because you see another solo going for it, but as that player is going to disengage, Vico, Flixie, they don't want to go on the chase, so they're going to let Marine live to tell the tale, but that bunker is now their next focus.
Bunker's going to be huge, but also can be what causes players to get eliminated when they get overconfident trying to get one. T3eny and Chap, just like Marius and Sanguild, have looked for non-stop action throughout the mid-games of these matches. We know how much they love to play aggressively. But it looks like right as I say that, they might be choosing to disengage to a bunker here.
Just kind of get
more than a fair play.
Yeah, with a little bit extra that they can. Kind of go in, loot the bunker. They already had control of it. So if anybody else kind of ran up in this direction, they would have had to think twice. And this is where they get a chance at least packing a punch, depending on what comes out of those weapon cases. They do have that gold to add some attachments, which is very, very useful with those DMRs, because some of them don't even come with scopes.
Taking a look at the chillier side of the map here. Cade has gone down. Marine still up though. But it looks like there's another solo that had the same idea. Nitro Splash coming through. knocking on its door. Is he going to have time? It was metal, though, so he did not break the build with the initial nitro splash. It does 300 damage when you charge against the wall. So those metal structures that are at 500 have 200 more HP from the initial knock. As now the 1v1 breaks through the battle to see who's going to bring their duo back in the game.
Yeah, Mariah knows that it's only so long you can stay in this position before you have to start using those medkits simply to stay alive and keep this fight prolonged. But Game Lord Noya just disengaging as well. Doesn't know how safe it is. Didn't get the memo that they disengaged on the outside. So both of those players kind of have to wait just a little bit longer before they get that first attempt on their teammates back into the game.
Neither duos or players wanted to take the risk. Oh, look at this, Jacob. Little sneaky play coming through against Noah and Aqua here. But it's a solo, so it's going to be difficult.
As you can see, I don't see Akira anywhere in sight. Might not even going for the elimination. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The scraps that are left by, and this is those plays you don't always. Oh, I was gonna say you don't always have to be tagging somebody up immediately. When there's enough distance between him and them, he feels confident enough to fire those shots, but immediately gets beamed. And they know he's back there. They know they already got most of the important loot out of that bunker. So for them, if they get zoned on this side of the map, it's just a waiting game for the solo to come out of the storm weak.
I was gonna say there's pros and cons of the shots that this solo just took. One of them is if they decide to wait at the edge of zone, he's gonna have a very difficult rotate trying to get back in. On the other hand, at least he got a bit of damage, so it's gonna help for Storm Surge, but it's difficult overall. For 9, took out Ju. Nice little quick finish. Chicho Trulex once again based up with their surge base that they like to do. They're relaxed over here.
And then knowing that the zone is pulling in this direction, so they're just hoping a lot of those teams rotate in this direction more so than all the way towards the north, trying to grab that east side, or all the way towards the south, trying to grab that side of the map. Rift Island is going to appear. Vanyak, Swizzy. They have multiple options here. They can go for the Rift Island. There's launch pads up there if they want to fight for it, but they're more than likely boxed up on a rift down below. Whoa. Oh, scared me there for a moment. The Nitro Splash saving the day yet again.
I got a little scared as well, as I'm still getting a bit nervous. 24 HP is what they're going to make it out with. But for how long? As with that amount of tags, you know the opponents are going to come hungry, especially seeing it was Vanyak, Swizzy, Noah as well coming by. And this is a party that I don't even know if I want to be invited to.
From Redline Rig to Rift Island. Even Vico's getting a couple eliminations. He was at least able to take down Voco. And now that Rift Island is kind of taken overall, you see that first team up there, they were just too weak. If they were to try to hold this position, we know Vanyak and Swizzy, they would have tried to fight for it. And with a huge chunk of HP missing, they had no choice but to give it up, disengage, and kind of keep themselves alive, because that's what you need. With 34 players, at least 9 teams need to go down before you even get a singular placement point.
Once again, a lot of the duos in the top 5 have went down. Murstache Malibuka, iJob Chris, Mebs Kiduo, all eliminated now in the top 5. But hey, at least we got Mariah and Cade back in business, back in the game. They had a little struggle there at Classy Courts off the start, but the reboot has come through. They're gonna Flowberry Launchpad here, and then hopefully make their way into zone.
I like this overhead look on the map, kind of seeing where everybody's kind of scattered, spread out just a little bit. A long journey for Marine to trying to get back into the zone, but it's at least a chance that they're going to have to work with. Dylan F9 just trying to move through, not take too many big risks. They know how volatile it can be this low to the ground, especially with the Nitro Splashes in the game.
Good job recuperating metal. The most scarce resource on the map. A lot of these drop spots, people have routes for Storm Surge. They got routes for how to loot efficiently, and even routes for where to farm up their metal, because it's so important to have as much as possible. But the LN for 9, they've got a different idea on how they can get that metal. It's through eliminations, but you got to be careful with all the walls breaking, opponents charging right into you. You have to be careful, as the Flowberry Fizz is going to be popped, recuperating both players' shield here. Are they going to continue with the engagement, though? You see the zone has pulled further east, so the smart play might just be to keep rotating.
Yeah, that was almost a blessing in disguise for those just getting knocked back like that. Knocked back into safety. It wasn't ultimately in zone. T3eny was easily able to kind of reunite. And with the Cola and the Fizz, they got their HP and shield as back up as it could possibly be without wasting too many more of those resources. So sometimes, you know, getting bashed into the Nitro when they actually toss you out of the box, it could be a saving play as Chap. T3eny, only one elimination so far. They've traveled all the way around here, and with only one elimination like I just spoke of, Storm Surge 439 above. That's just because the bases they've been building on top of the mountains near that forecast tower allows them to see so many different lines of sight.
Also, the aggression this duo has, even without the eliminations, like they've only secured one elim this match, but they've just been constantly playing aggressive, so they get those tags from the box fights, and even if they don't close it out, you can see it's more than enough damage to be not really worrying about too much in this part of the game. Looks like Marine has finally made it in, but Nathan is right in front of him alongside CZB. Do they know, though? Well, they do now after he takes those shots to put himself 4 above. That's the issue of being in zone for so long. You don't get those tags you need, but luckily enough now, there is some potential, and I believe there's even more duos taking shots at Nathan and CZB as they've been almost cracked, unless that was just Cade from the backside.
They just really split, taking 2 different rotations in. You take that side of the mountain, I'll take this side. Hopefully CZB and Nathan don't spot us out, but I do think they have some sort of information that somebody is floating around here. You see Nathan ready to edit that floor. And if they pop a Nitro Splash, we know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try to bull rush into that opponent's box, knowing that he's a solo.
And that's exactly what's coming here from Chap and T3eny. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, Skydune opens up his eyes in the lobby for the 4th elimination on Chap and T3eny.
We got a nice spot, center zone. There is different elevations around them, so they do have to be careful, and that's why you see them kind of putting a top on their box. With a lot of teams rotating in this direction, some of them will try to get deep into the side where the zone opens up, because they know since it was a 50-50, not too many teams will contest that side of the map.
.692 above. Also inside of the storm. Everything's looking good except for the material count on this duo. Good news is there should be quite a few people rotating by them and a lot of engagements happening in their surroundings, so they should have potential for getting those refreshes or eliminations later on in this match. But for now, they don't really have to move too much, unlike Cade and Marine, who have to do the opposite. Need to rotate in, need to do damage, and also could use a refresh. Material's looking pretty decent, though, so hopefully they can find something here.
Yeah, usually they're ahead of the curve when it comes to Storm Surge, but because they were forced to reboot each other back up, they weren't able to be as proactive as they were in some of these other games, and now they're falling further and further below that damage threshold. For now, it's manageable. They just need to get a couple shots into the distance, but if it keeps working in this trend, they're going to have to break into the box with those Nitro Splashes, almost leaving themselves very few options of what they can actually do, but the fight actually comes to them. Cade gets dropped. Marine is going to be stuck by himself. That's Toos and Karmi on the other side that find that elimination. Good thing for Marine, though, he was able to fire back a couple of shots briefly for a moment, goes above the threshold, but instantly falls right back down. He's trying to get that piece control, but with damage, 2 players on the other side, and Storm Surge, the odds were certainly stacked against him.
No damage, no teammate, no way to make it out of that situation. Karmi and his duo with 4 elims on the board, now forced to rotate southwest of the map here. I mean, it's looking quite open in a sense, but I wonder where Swizzy went. Oh, no. Well,
That was
so much for Swizzy.
And 1 Nitro Splash on Vanyak. That's the real scary thing to me, because if somebody Nitro Splashes into his box, he might have to use it just to get out and stay alive, not even to get a refresh. He's looking good for now, but playing as a solo, you're going to spend much more material, much more of your resource. So sooner or later, that time is going to come where he's going to have to figure out how to get some sort of materials, some sort of a refresh, and possibly elimination on somebody else.
He's got a bit of time, though, to be fair. For being a solo, the amount of damage above the Storm Surge threshold is quite good. So, for the moment, should be pretty confident. In terms of positioning as well, could be worse.
Just trying to hold on to that 5th place spot. 152 below. And we need a couple players to go down before Storm Surge is off, but we just need one team. And there it goes. Olver goes down. His duo is already out. At least placement points are now starting to tick in. So he's at least getting something for his efforts here. And the longer he stays, the better off he's going to be. Reverse is down low. This might be his only chance. Nitro Splash coming out. He's going to dive. Storm Surge now ticking. Shield's going bye-bye, and even another player is trying to burst his way in. He gets a shot onto the other side, breaks out to safety, tries to get the edit, and this is where it's going to get tricky. It's a 2v1, third party coming in. That's Flixie who's making that crash happen. Wise just doing what he can. He got some shots, but not enough to get above the threshold. He's going to get chopped down by Storm Surge.
The pressure is on now as we get closer and closer to the late game. This is the moment where players have to plan ahead. For Chap and T3eny, their plan is more eliminations. They know there's players with low HP here, and they want a bit of that pie, but at the same time, 8th zone has appeared. It's the half in, half out, where a lot of these duos are rotating towards, and the ones that want to maintain height have to start showing their dominance here. Kind of saying, this is something we're going to play for. Once that first moving pulls, we're going to be following it.
You just got to be careful if you're the team up there a little too soon. That's Artist, that's Fire Hunter. They immediately abandon it, trying to jump to the front side. And this is where typically they could have a chance to try to take it back. With a couple more moving zones to go, some might say it's just a little bit too early. So they're just going to probably play it slow and steady to try to get some more eliminations before they go for the high ground again.
That is what wins the race in theory. We'll see if that comes true here in Fortnite competitive. Turtle with a nice little knock and elimination. Akira taking down himself somehow. As Chap and T3eny are going to be the ones that are going to be putting pressure up above. Will the zone pull back to them, though? It looks like it might have. And now it's all about maintaining it.
Hey, this could be a big win opportunity for T3eny Chap. They have the Nitro Splashes, Fizz, a couple colas in the inventory as well. And 6 eliminations on top of that, so Storm Surge certainly not going to be a worry. And with his own pulling forward, it's going to be a mountain ridge on the other side that they might be able to connect to try to maintain their position on the high ground. It's just all a matter if anybody can look up and chop it down before that becomes a possibility.
So much damage, such good positioning, so many materials. They have everything they need to close it out. All that's left is to do it. You can see Trulex and Chicho as well. Interesting rotate on the uncongested side of the moving zone here. Meanwhile, Artist and his duo seem to be split up, but it looks like they have regrouped. Kind of taking a little pause here to look around, gauge the situation. Do they want to keep rotating? Do they want to take some shots? You got to be careful here to not get boxed up as you're rotating and stay nice and close to your teammate. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, he almost slid down to a lower layer. He wants to stay up as high as possible. Chicho and Trulex, they're feeling the pressure and a little bit of the worries on top of that. But luckily for them, they got themselves a position inside of the zone now. They're just hoping it goes anywhere but west and it goes south. They get a little bit of a blessing because now it goes back on over to open land instead of up that mountain.
It's going to be difficult for the team on height, though. That's a lot of materials that they're going to have to use now. Can Chap and T3eny hold on to it as Tidy and his duo got to be careful. No mats to work with. Gets knocked down. CZB Nathan got to be the one securing the loot. Has now just crouched in a corner. Will Nathan and CZB turn around? Do they know there's a solo behind them in their tarp? Not for long. As the pressure continues, Nathan and CZB running low on mats, being close to second height, raining from above. The shots from Chap and T3eny are going to be the ones that take out Nathan.
Be a little bit of a distraction there because they stopped shooting in that direction. They thought it might have only been a solo. That allows him to stagger himself back and heal off. But the pressure right now, Chap and T3eny is only going to last for so long before they momentarily get chopped down. But that's T3eny. He used that as an opportunity to drop all the way down low, dash into the box, and take out Voltiax. Now they have Cool in their sight. Back-to-back eliminations being cleaned up by Chap and T3eny. They have awoken from their slumber, and they're ready to dominate the rest of this game.
Another one for T3eny. Looks like he's not even done yet as Flixie gets eliminated as well. Back above. Nitro pop. T3eny's thinking. I need to stay up above. I need to secure this win, but I know he wants to drop down. I know he wants to frag out. Medkits being split up. They have the potential for the heal off. Aqua Noah still up above, now dropping down below. They're out of materials. They need to frag.
Yeah, trying to make a late game move, but Artist gets lost along with Noah. Gold gets taken down as well. They return the favor. Fire Hunter staggering himself back. Just a little bit of HP left. All he has the corn. He has to try to make a way towards the zone, but Trulex deep into zone. He must have found the treasure trove of heals, but T3eny has more than that available. At least 5 different med kits. One is instantly going to be used, and they're just jumping around waiting for the music to play. They knew they had it in the bag to take the victory when they needed it most.
This is what I was waiting for, Jacob. Chap and T3eny said they took our boom bolt. Doesn't even matter. We have still got it from back-to-back Cash Cup VR's first place finishes to now taking home the 5th match of the day. A lot of talk has been happening for this duo, and now they're showing exactly why that is.
Yeah, you can see their road up until this point has not been an easy one. 44th place. They figured out a way to make magic in the next game with 8th, and then they struggled again. 37th, 21st. They were going for high elimination games, and it hadn't worked out for them until now. They finally put all the pieces to that puzzle together. They not only get a huge victory, but they get a double-digit elimination victory on top of that.
That's the best way to do it as well. And the good news is they don't have as much trouble as some of the other duos in the top of the leaderboard in the initial start to the match. Their drop spot. So hopefully now with one more opportunity to close out the day, they can get another big match, and that could launch them up to the top of the leaderboard if they're not there already.
Yep, but we're going to figure that out soon because we're going to go to a quick break and we're going to see how the leaderboard shakes out after 5 games.